Hello Stampers, I'm Kelly Acheson at stampingup.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. This project that I'm featuring today is part of the Stampers Dozen blog hop. So I hope at the end of the video you can click up in the top right corner and it's going to take you right to my blog where you can hop along and see what everybody else made. We were challenged to use retiring products today because it's a last chance. It's a last chance to see something that you may like before it's gone. All of our current Stampin' Up! Products that are retiring will be done on June 3rd. June 4th, our new catalog comes out. So this is one of my all-time favorites. I'm using Friendly Expressions today, and I absolutely love the fonts on these, and I love the sayings too. And then I chose Falling Flowers and Mayflower Framelits. This is such a beautiful stamp set. It can be paired with any greeting set. And of course, I love these dies. This is my all-time favorite one. I made a really cool project with a really cool technique. I'll share this on my blog. A link to that project that I made with this die, but I actually made a stamp out of it, and it is just, it's so cool. I'm really sad to see these going, but I'm glad that they're in my library so I don't have to worry about that, right? All right, let's get started, and I'm going to show you what I made. I'm going to bring in my cardstock layers first. I've got a scrap of Whisper White, a scrap of Rich Razzleberry, and then I decided to use the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. Now you guys have seen me use this. This is the whitewash type of pattern, but this paper comes 6 by 6 and it is absolutely gorgeous. You've got a whole bunch of different wood textures in here. It's great for all kinds of cards. Man cards, baby cards are extremely charming with the wood background, and I'm going to make a floral card with it, and I've done that several times over the last couple years because this paper has been in our catalog for a couple years. So I have a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4 of the whitewashed. Then I've got a layer for the inside that's also 4 by 5 1/4, and my card base is Rich Razzleberry 8.5 by 5 1/2. We're just going to fold that and burnish that edge with the bone folder. Then I'm going to bring in my whitewashed, and I can't decide which side do I want to use. Do I want to use this side or this? I think we're going to go with this side. I have another sample I can show you that used the side that has a little bit more wood showing. We're going to do this side right now. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink. And this large swirly pattern, this is so pretty for a background. So I'm going to stamp right on that Wood Textures paper just to bring in some of these swirls. And then I thought I would come right down here and do just a little bit more in the bottom left corner. Oh, the paper looks like it has something on it, but it's actually part of the print. Then before we get too far, I want to use my saying. Now I'm making this card. It's a special card for one of my girls that's going through a pretty rough time right now. And I just really thought that she could use a card to help cheer her up and let her know that I love her and I think a lot of her. So we've got our stamping done on here. The other thing that I want to stamp is that inside layer. I'm going to bring in my Memento black ink pad. And I just want to stamp one flower on here. And I'm using, oh look, I have ink all over my fingernail. I'm using the Memento because we're going to bring in the alcohol markers and color these, and that is the ink that you want to use when you're going to bring in your alcohol markers. Okay, before I get too much further, I'm going to clean this large swirly stamp off. And grab my Rich Razzleberry ink. Now when I send out cards, I don't always have the time to do this, but my intentions are always good. I love to stamp the envelopes. So I'm just going to take a piece of printer weight paper, and I've got one of our Whisper White envelopes here, and I've just folded it so that I can tuck the rest of the envelope in here. I'm going to use Rich Razzleberry ink with the swirl pattern, and I'm going to stamp up the flap on my envelope. And it's just a very random pattern. And I think I just want one more right here. There we go. Isn't that pretty? That's going to look so pretty in the mail. Oh, you know what? I want one up here too. Hang on. We're not finished yet. We gotta make this pretty dazzling. There we go. All right, now that looks pretty cool, right? Okay, let's get this out of the way. Now we're gonna bring in our scrap of Whisper White. And what I decided I needed for this card was one of these large flowers, again stamped in Memento black ink. I needed some of these leaves that are on this leaf sprig. One of these flowers, and of course you want to spread them out so that you can die cut them, because there's dies to match each one of these. All right, I've got my Stampin' Blend alcohol markers here now. I've got Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, Rich Razzleberry, and then the Dark Mango Melody. So I'm just going to color in a little bit of this for you so I can show you how I did it. Now, I am not an artist. I've never professed to be an artist. But when I use these markers, I like to kind of outline the lines that Stampin' Up! Has given us. And I always start with the darkest marker first. So this is the Pumpkin Pie Dark. And I just kind of go around and outline the petals. Now I'm going to come in with the light pumpkin pie and I'm going to blend. So what I do is just kind of color over what's left in white. And I can still see my definite lines there, which means I haven't blended. Okay, so you can still see the definite lines on the edges of my flowers. Now I'm going to come in and keep moving this marker around so that it blends those lines in. So then it looks more like shadowing instead of I just made a dark mark at the edge of the flower. Look at how pretty that is. For the inside of this flower, I'm going to use the dark Rich Razzleberry, something just a little different, right? Besides yellow. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this flower. I'm going to outline all the petals and those lines that Stampin' Up! Draws for us. So this allows you to be like an artist even if you're not. And that's what I love about these alcohol markers. Everybody can look like an artist with an alcohol marker. I've got my dark pumpkin pie I'm going to use on the middle of this flower. And then my light Rich Razzleberry, I'm going to come in and blend those dark lines in. Okay, I need green. The green that I chose was Mossy Meadow. So I've got the light, the light Mossy Meadow here, and I'm just going to color some of these leaves. And you know, I do think I shaded these a little bit. I was going to say shadowed them. That doesn't make any sense, does it? I did. I just, again, drew on that middle line on some of these leaves. And then you're going to come in and blend with the lighter color. I'm only coloring the bigger ones because I'm actually going to cut these leaves out. There is a die for them, but I decided I just wanted the leaf. This last flower uses Mango Melody Dark, I almost said light, in the center. And then we're going to do the same thing with the Dark Poppy Parade. I just went around the outside edges. And then come in with the lighter Poppy Parade. And of course, which tip you want to use, whether you want to use the big tip or the small tip, completely up to you. But when I'm doing a confined area like this, I kind of stick with a smaller tip all the way through. Aren't those just beautiful? Beautiful. Okay, now what I did from there is a little bit different. I took my dies and I die cut my flowers. Once I had my flowers die cut, let's see. I did die cut these leaves. Oops. Once I had all these flowers die cut, you have a white edge around them. And for the purposes of this card, I didn't want a white edge on them. So I just took my snips and I cut on the black line. And these black lines on these images are fairly thick, so it made it super easy to go around and trim off that white. Now, if you want to, you could just fussy cut them from the get-go and not die cut them. It's completely up to you. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch me cut out flowers, but here's what I ended up with. I've got one of each flower, and then I needed 2 larger leaves and 1 small leaf. I'm just going to set these down, and then this scrap of rich razzleberry, we're going to take this big die and we're going to die cut a big flower out of it. So hang tight, I'll be right back. So here's our big flower. So now we've got everything ready to put our card together. I'm going to bring in this 1/4 inch velvet ribbon and also a piece of our 5/8 inch burlap. The burlap is carrying over, this beautiful velvet ribbon is retiring. So if you don't have any, I recommend it. It's rich razzleberry, so it matches. I'm going to take a piece of the burlap ribbon. This is about 4.5 inches long. And then I'm going to take a piece of this velvet ribbon that's the same length. And I wanted to stack these on top of each other. And the best way I found to do that is with mini glue dots. So I'm going to put 3 mini glue dots on the back of my velvet ribbon. And then I'm going to have to stand up so I can see what I'm doing here. I want this to be right in the middle of my burlap. I'm kind of pulling both of them so they're nice and tight, and I can get this pressed down in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut this at an angle, just like that, okay? Here's our layer that we're going to put it on. And again, I found the best way to attach all of this to my card is with mini glue dots. So I've got our mini glue dots on there. I'm just going to pull this right about here. Isn't that kind of neat looking? I just thought the burlap went along with the wood grain. I love using the burlap ribbon with the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. Then we're going to bring in some dimensionals. And it seems odd to use dimensionals for this flower, but just hang tight because I'll show you exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just going to put a couple dimensionals right here. And then I'm going to, whoops, let's cut this ribbon off. How about that? We don't want to leave this hanging out there. You're going to just trim it down the side. Okay, here comes our flower. I just wanted that to pop up a little bit over the top of my card. And then I'm going to do one more thing. So my flower is tilted up like this, and I didn't like that. So I took another dimensional and I tucked it down in there. It was kind of an issue that I found after the fact, and that's going to help my flower lay down. And now you can see that it's not sticking way up like it was because of the ribbon under it. This flower I'm going to bring in, and I wanted to cover up this edge of the burlap over here. Now this flower is sticking to those dimensionals that are poking through the holes. I'm going to place a dimensional on the back of my rich raspberry flower and add that right in here. And then we're going to use a mini dimensional on the Poppy Parade flower. Why? Because it fits perfectly. Look how perfect that is. If you don't have any of these mini dimensionals, I would suggest you add them to your orders because they're fantastic. We're going to pop that right in there. And here comes our card front. Add this on here. What do you guys think so far? Isn't this just so... It's kind of rustic and charming, and I thought it was so cool. Now I see that my burlap is a little crooked here, and that's going to make me crazy, and I can't give this card to my loved one with crooked burlap. There we go. Okay, I got it straight now. This card I'm going to color again with the rich raspberry and pumpkin pie for the center. And this is our layer for the inside. I'm going to do this real quick, so I'm going to speed my camera up because I don't think you need to watch. Well, maybe you can watch me. Maybe I'll tell you. The other night, we went to do taste testing for Haley's wedding. My daughter is getting married August 3rd, and we went to the place where she's having her wedding and reception. Got to see it. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's very rustic and charming. And we got to taste test the food that's going to be served at the reception. It was so good, you guys, but I have to tell you, I completely blew my diet that day. I didn't forget that we were going to the wedding reception place, but I kind of forgot that we were taste testing. So that day, I went out to lunch with one of my stepdaughters. And my lunch was fine. I had a fresca bowl with vegetables instead of rice. So it was shrimp with vegetables at the Mexican restaurant. And but then I forgot that I was eating again that night. And they put on a full meal for us with all these selections. So we had this chicken that was covered in a dark gravy with mushrooms. It was delicious. And haddock. And some other kind of chicken with a wine sauce. But we're going to go with the chicken with the brown burgundy sauce, I think they called it, and the broiled haddock fish. So it was just so delicious. And then there was pasta, and I'm not supposed to eat pasta, but I did, and I was very naughty. And then I came home and I was kind of so stuffed. So for those of you that are new to me, I have been on a weight loss journey here for myself, but for the wedding. I've gained about 30 pounds over the last year or so, and I just decided it was time to get rid of it. And so I was down 28 pounds, but I don't know what it is now. Okay, so I just tucked those leaves in there. Isn't that so pretty? I still have more. So anyways, I just felt like I just blew it yesterday. I just completely blew it. But you know what? Today is another day. I'm right back on track. And my husband, bless his heart, he went to the store and bought me some steak and grilled it for me on the grill today. And he also grilled some mushrooms and made asparagus, roasted asparagus. So it was just delicious. So that was my meal today. So I'm back on track. But now I'm going to visit my mom for the weekend for Mother's Day. So We'll see how well that goes. What do you guys think? Where'd my envelope go? Here it is. What do you think? Is this not the most beautiful card? I absolutely love this. And I know that my stepdaughter is going to be, it's going to cheer her up, I hope. So here we go. Fantastic set of framelits. These are called May Flowers. And you get 10 different framelits in here. And they go along with the Falling Flowers stamp set. And there's 8 stamps in here. Such a pretty one, especially with summer coming up. And then I chose the friendly expressions that went across the bottom of my card just perfectly, I thought. So there's my project. This is our last chance blog hop. Please make sure that you click up here to go to my blog and see what everybody else made with last chance products. The products I talked about, the paper, the stamp set, the framelits, and the velvet ribbon are all retiring on June 3rd. So if you want to get a hold of them, I always appreciate your orders. You can go right to my blog. You'll find an online ordering button in the right-hand column. Use this host code or whichever code is in that column. That's my current host code. I always appreciate that. Only do that if your order is under $150. If it's over $150, don't use the host code. You're going to get rewards from Stampin' Up, and I want you to have those. Make sure you click down here to subscribe to my blog. I've got a whole bunch of new product stuff coming to you soon. I've made several videos using new product out of the new catalog. I can't hardly wait for that. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. I can send you our newest catalog. Just let me know. You can email me at kelly@astampabove.com and give me your address. Don't forget the address. Lots of people say, I'd love a catalog, but I need your address. And I'd be happy to send you a catalog. Once again, thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend it with me. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.